Good morning, everyone. This is Ventura. Happy start of the week to everyone listening. It's my idea to make these videos. This is the first one I'm actually releasing. I've been doing a couple of tests and playing with the recording tool. The main goal of the video is to do a market review, a market read early in the week. Today that is Monday, and do it together, then discuss it in the channels that we often use to discuss, like order flow and chart ideas. The context of the upcoming days. Where are we in regards to price? Mainly on BTC, and we will go about BTC, and then we can talk some alts on the chats. But I want to do this as I'm starting to make a bit more of video content. Not very experienced on the aspect, but let's do it. So first off, what I do every Monday, actually not every day, but every Monday, I check in Quantower. There is a guide on how to set Quantower if you are interested in the order flow channel. I check this full period price chart on BTC. It has loaded 3 years, which is more than enough to see BTC below 10k and BTC up to the 2 all-time highs. It has attached a volume profile of the whole period on the history of trading in FTX. This is an FTX connection, which to me is okay. We don't need to be as precise when it comes to context. We need to more or less delineate the areas where we want to interact with the market. If you were present in order flow in the past month or so, we were discussing about this low volume node that has started to fill ever since we lost this level, this particular level here. If you remember, this was a very heavy choppy period that the market went through from May to almost the end of June, half of June. We have our big drop, a big inefficient drop, which is reflected in the fact that this area has still not developed a distributed volume evenly, which is one of the main basis of, not basis, but is one of the tools I personally like to use to delineate where is the path of least resistance in an asset. An asset will, for the most part, try to trade in the areas of less resistance in a more swift manner. We have, for instance, I want to show this because it's really important. We have one of the choppiest periods ever on BTC with this deviation that tricked us all. Some people shorted, and to be honest, I congratulate the people that was convinced enough to short this deviation. Many were bullish here. Myself, I even got scared to short at the time, so it happens. Don't worry about it. What I wanted to point out is that, as you can notice in the volume profile, this was one of the areas with most volume transacted ever, and it's no surprise that it was an area of such choppy consolidation. Not necessarily consolidation, but price action in general was terrible to trade. I remember it was the start of 2022 up until we started dropping quite hard. Now, in regards to context, and we were trying to discuss is this: we have lost this level. The last 2 months we have been trading below what it was, this main volume node that the BTC price had been developing, sorry. And we had 2 low volume nodes below. The one that we are attempting to fill now, and we have done a pretty good job, I'd say, in creating a floor. I'ma put this aside. We have created a floor. We could even delineate a line here, and we have a range. So we have a low volume area, and that to me, in the case we keep grinding up, we'll have very little resistance up until 28k. That doesn't mean that you have a trade at the very moment you say that. You only remember, we are trying to delineate context and know where are we standing. What is the other clue that the volume profile is giving us? That in the case that this price fails to sustain momentum and break up, or even if it does it and then reverses, the moment this start to accept below the 29k area price level, is very likely that we directly slip. I don't think technique, but based on volume distribution picture and context, that this area from 20k to 10k is an area that has a lot of stacked orders, let's say, or and the volume picture also doesn't show us a level where it will be easier to stop a falling knife in a certain way, if you want to call it that way. So what I like to do is just to check this overall picture. I don't make any trade based on this. I am only checking the overall picture of the volume distribution, and then I can jump into another tool. The other tool that I do like to use, and is still on a daily time frame, is this one. It's ExoCharts. We're kind of dropping now. ExoCharts in the TPO sessions chart. Chart. I like to use it expanded mainly because I like to see the type of excess that the price shows us, like this. I think is quite a bit more readable when you watch it that way. Why do I like to use this tool in particular? Mainly to see this. If we have a previous session point of control that it hasn't been touched yet, that doesn't mean that it will touch it. But for instance, we had a CME session naked point of control, then like a full day developed, started at 2 new sessions, and then it was tagged. This as well is not a trade in itself, but if we go about it under the premise, we work under the premise that volume wants to be distributed evenly, those areas of high volume and consolidation for a particular period will act as magnets. This, as you will notice with time, is not like a rule that you can apply and make a trade. We always discuss this. We study a lot of concepts that sometimes are useful, in my opinion, as tools to create a model for trading, but are not trading systems in themselves. You, for the most part, will need to be more granular to find a proper trade. So I'm already watching these past sessions TPO charts, and we see okay. What this picture to me is showing me is a clear example of mean reversion, of responsive action. If we consider this was the top of our range, I'll take this out. If this was the top of our range, then we are mean reverting and taking this uptrend stops. Here is a good example of what will end up happening if this continues. We have an uptrend, clear uptrend, higher highs and higher lows. For the people that trade market structure, this will be a proper trade. We have the first market structure break. We have a lower high, and then we start trending down. We of course have this retest that go very near to the point of control now that I'm watching it, but then continue down. Do we see an opportunity here yet? No, not really. I personally, the only information I'm taking from this chart at the moment is that these stops are in danger if these people have already not exited here. That is the clue that this chart is telling me. So the other thing I like to do after that is to start checking on a regular price chart, which has a few indicators. I don't use them at all the time, but I do like to use them after I've made a rundown on the price action. The way I like to think about price action is indeed the history of what people were thinking at the moment. You will notice that it doesn't really matter if we are watching at the price action or a TPO. At the end of the day, we are watching at the history of an auction, of people transacting. So I consider that more important than particular figures or particular market structure breaks or not. I do believe market structure has a place, but I for instance like to use the confirmations of the order flow if possible, and I try to actually execute it. One second. I have a bunch of BTC charts for different purposes, so bear with me.